15 days to go, and Kamala momentum is in the toilet. VP Harris looking to Hollywood to rescue her stalled-out campaign. Over the weekend, she was rolling out the star power with Lizzo, that's her on the left, Usher, and Stevie Wonder. And later this week, she got the Democratic dream team of Barry and Michelle O. But there's one big name missing in this coconut party. The Harris campaign is said to be abandoning Joe Biden in the final weeks before Election Day, with no current plans for Kamala to campaign with the big guy. But she is hitting up Al Sharpton to whine about Trump.
A role model of what it means to be committed to certain standards, including international rules and norms, but also standards of decorum. And what you see in my opponent, a former president of the United States, really is, it demeans the office.
Do you think some of the resistance of some men, black and white, is misogynist?
I have the support of countless black men who are in elected positions. I am very clear. I must earn the vote of everyone, regardless of their race or gender.
So Judge Al Sharpton is a staunch defender of decorum and misogyny. I would call him the Rosa Parks of hate crime hoaxes. Who could forget his dedicated defense of Tawana Brawley in 1987, which launched a whole litany all the way up to Justice Smollett. So in a sense, he really is a forerunner.
You are so right, Greg. I must tell you, your knowledge of history as it relates to Al Sharpton is really incredible.
Unparalleled.
Yes, it is unparalleled. You know, let me just tell you something. I mean, Kamala Harris, it's kind of interesting to hear her say she's been clear that she wants to earn everybody's vote. I mean, she ought to go out there and really try to earn it, as opposed to, you know, just reading scripted speeches at rallies. But more than that, I mean, calling on the Hollywood elite. She called on Bill Clinton. He didn't do her any favors. He basically said Laken Riley wouldn't be dead if there was any vetting. That's no good. And Obama didn't do her any help, because Obama's the one who was talking down to black men, saying, you know, you got to vote for this woman, you know, and lecturing them about voting for a black woman for president. I mean, it's such crap. Plus, celebrities. No one listens to celebrities anymore. Nobody cares about what they think. Everybody knows that the Hollywood elite are leftist, and, you know, being a celebrity is nothing more than a distraction. The voters want to know who Kamala Harris is, and they don't know it yet, because she won't let them know that. It's all about platitudes and word salads that we've been dealt with over the last 3 years, 3.5 years. And Trump's running circles around her. But I got to make one more comment. It's Lizzo. If you ever needed proof of someone being more out of touch with Americans, when she says, yeah, we're going to make America like Detroit, you know, and it'll be terrific. I mean, unless she's talking about making Detroit great again, as in a MAGA making America great again, nobody's interested in Detroit the way it is. I mean, 34% of the people are below the poverty line. They don't have jobs. The crime is through the roof. You know, forget it.
You know, I have to disagree with the judge, Dana. Celebrities do matter to me. If it's Philip Michael Thomas, who played Tubbs in Miami Vice, tells me who to vote for, I'm there with you, Philip Michael Thomas. What do you think about? Do you think that celebrities can replace policy?
Nope.
Never
has, and I'm not swayed by it, and obviously other people haven't been either. One thing I'll say about Kamala Harris, throughout this campaign, she doesn't play the woman card or the race card. She always says, I want to earn this on the merits. And that's refreshing, because that's not what 2016 was like at all. The other thing, I was going to make the Detroit point, but I won't do that now. The other thing is, I feel like this idea that she doesn't want to campaign with Biden, that was going to be an inevitable storyline. But Biden should help her do this. So when he finally said, okay, I'm going to give this speech, even if it was under duress, he was making a decision that she was going to be the heir apparent. So what he should have done, knowing that this storyline was coming, is to say, it's okay. I know you are loyal to me, and it is okay if you distance yourself from me. Here's 3 possible items where you could say something that will maybe look like it hurts my feelings, but in the long run, if it helps you win, that will be better for me. And so I think that burden kind of goes back to the Biden White House, and they haven't been trying to help her at all. The last thing I would say is she's doing a lot of things, but do not confuse movement with progress.
Tell me
Because it
about
feels like right now, after the convention, she was on this glide path to victory. But Donald Trump's been gaining. And it's like, well, so who's going to get to Election Day at the top? That's like an algebra problem.
It really is. I will just disagree with you. I do think that she does play the race card when she changes her accents. Isn't she playing the race card?
Lots of races?
And a lot of her issues are race-based. The a plan for black men just took the stuff that
Yeah,
didn't
but
work.
she's not saying vote for me because I'm black or
Really?
vote for me because I'm a woman.
Well, let me ignore that comment and go to Jesse.
Yep.
Lizzo, Usher, Stevie Wonder, Obama, Michelle, Al Sharpton. Not much diversity there, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is funny. So on the weekend, she threw herself a birthday party with celebrities, and he went to a football game and worked the fryer. That's a problem for her. She looks out of touch, and who throws yourself a birthday party? I would never do something like that. When you reach a certain age, you just try to like stop acknowledging how old you are.
Exactly.
That's what I do. Women are different. Women like to celebrate birthday months. I don't speak for women.
Oh, really?
When they let me.
When?
So at the funeral for Ethel, we caught that hot tape of
Ethel.
tomato.
It's Ethel
All
Kennedy.
due respect. God rest her soul. They had a lip reader that said Joe Biden was talking to Barack and said, she's not as strong as I was, and Barack agreed. And so now Barack owns this, and he's now guilty because he staged this coup, and it might not work out. That would be twice he screwed Biden over and endorsed a woman who Trump will likely be two of them. And so now he has to go out and campaign his butt off. He doesn't want that. He wants to be in Hawaii. Now he's on the campaign trail with Bill Clinton, someone who doesn't really represent decorum, I might add. And now Liz Cheney's out there and Stevie Wonder. It's like the broken status quo that Trump's always run against and always done well against. Now, the decorum thing's interesting because they found crack in her White House, and they had a trans flasher, and the president sniffs women's hair. Who cares about decorum? This country's sinking. It's like she's complaining Trump didn't put a napkin in his lap during the Titanic. Who cares? We had a guy that was supposed to be this genteel elder statesman that was going to bring decorum back to the White House, and look where that got us. This country regrets Joe Biden. This is like our guilty conscience. Basically, when they elect Trump, it's going to be like, you know what? We made a mistake. My bad.
Last word to you, Richard.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Trump did well in all of the elections. Didn't he lose in 2020?
He did.
Okay, just
He
checking.
did.
I was just wanted to make
He
sure.
lost.
I mean,
He did lose.
he did have to like leave the White House and everything, so he lost.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay, just
He
checking.
did.
All right.
Glad you acknowledged that.
All right, so a couple of things here. There's just so much. But one, where I agree with Dana is she is trying to earn everybody's vote. Today alone, she's going to be in 3 states. She was in Pennsylvania, she's in Michigan, she's in Wisconsin.
4 states if you count inebriation.
Haha, funny. Over the weekend, she didn't throw herself a birthday party. She actually went to a number of Souls to the Polls church visits, and at one of those church visits, they sang her happy birthday. That's a little bit different than somebody throwing themselves a birthday party. But she was campaigning on her birthday, which tells you how much, even in the Brett Baier interview, she talked about she's going to work for every single vote. She's going to talk to every single voter. And she's going after disaffected Republicans just as much as she's going after African Americans, just as much as she's going after Latino voters, because she wants everybody to be part of their administration. And I think to say that, you know, the Biden team and the Biden White House is not part of this, I think that's also a misnomer, because what we saw the White House do today was something that we haven't seen in a long time. They're actually, like, I know you don't speak for women, but the White House seems to care about American women. They passed one of the largest expansions in healthcare today, or a rule that will allow for women to get reproductive care and birth control over the counter paid for by their health insurance. It's the biggest expansion we've seen in healthcare in decades, done by the Biden White House today, which will help American women who have private health insurance, and it'll make their paycheck go a little bit further and a little bit better. And that's the thing that most women will be happy about. And I think this is something that shows that you have there's a clear contrast between these 2 campaigns. One campaign will make it harder for women to get reproductive health, and another campaign will make sure that women do get the reproductive health they need. And I think that's what the contrast of these campaigns are.
I think it is. No, I think it is a contrast. I think
is.
Republicans see women as an entire human being. Democrats just see you as a womb that needs to be stopped.
Well, I think that's the Republicans when they take away their right to have reproductive care.
Are
But
they
you know
now?
what? The whole idea of souls to the polls for someone who's in support of third-term abortions or into transgender? I mean, give me a break.
No. Souls to the polls was something created by pastors. When I was a
for
kid,
someone
we
who
were doing
believes in
souls to the polls
third-term
because
and having the state pay for them.
hold on a second, Judge. Let's just correct the record here.
Well, I am correcting your record.
No. Let's just be talking. When the Voting Rights Act was passed in the 1960s, it was passed because churches. A lot of churches and a lot of pastors were behind passing it. That's where souls to the polls came from. And what's happened in many places is it happens.
I think the pastors are in support of the third-term abortion or botched abortion when the baby's born and born alive.
It was pastors that invited Vice President Kamala Harris to their church over the weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, kids. Ahead, weirdo Tim Walz is spinning lies about Donald Trump while trying to replay his glory days as an assistant coach.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.